and today we will begin our back road adventure just south of Columbia, South Carolina. Should be a good day. We're going to start off here at a place called More Junk. Very interesting. And yes, they do sell caskets here because right there is a casket. Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch Hiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today once again. Looking forward to visiting some of these small towns just south of Columbia today. We're going to check out some of their building structures. We're going to talk a little bit. I think one of the most interesting things when I was doing a little bit of research before I got here is the condition of these towns, how many people lives in them. Crime rate is going to be a big thing, the poverty rate, median household income, things like that. We're going to look at that stuff as we kind of adventure around these communities. All that being said, if you're ready, I'm ready to begin. Let's get started because it is going to be a good one today, and it is beautiful outside. This sunshine feels amazing. I gotta say, More Junk is fascinating. It is not every day that you see caskets setting out front for sale, and they have a few of them. I mean, this is wild. You can buy a casket here for $300 and up, and here they are. They're just sitting out here this morning. You can even see the morning dew on these caskets. How bizarre is this? And it looks like they still have a little Halloween items left behind. Halloween is come and gone. We're here in November now. But they still have some ghouls and ghosts hanging from the top. And if you buy this red casket right here, you get something a little bit extra out of it, because we have a leg and an arm still sticking out of the casket itself. You know, I was sitting here thinking to myself, where am I going to start my video? I had to do it because you just never see this anywhere else. And until you get off the highways, you just never know what you're going to run across. All right, let's make our way downtown and check out the town of Swansea, South Carolina. Very interesting place because about a month or so ago, supposedly they was going to get rid of their police department. Now that is pretty awesome. That is a really nice mural right here. Greetings from Swansea. That is really awesome. But Swansea has something that I have not seen in many years. This takes me back to my childhood, all kind of great memories from elementary school mainly. But I am actually walking into a little park right now that has a swing set. And they have something else, some of you people, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s and probably beyond, I think by the 90s come, you probably didn't see stuff like this, but look at that little gym right there. That right there was a big part of my youth. I used to watch kids get hurt on this thing all the time. I cannot believe there's still one in the wild. But that is a type of merry-go-round. And I cannot tell you how often we used to play on these things when I was growing up. And you can probably YouTube it and find some old video, not of me doing it, but people would get on here and hang on tight. Now there was different versions of this. This was probably one of the safer ones because we actually had one where the kids could get in the middle part here. It was bigger and you sat on the outside and you would like run in a circle real quick and get it going. This one here, most of us would just sit on these rails and hang on for dear life while the ones here on the outside would push and then just jump on like this. And you're just like trying not to get dizzy. Yeah, but you can go online, you can actually see people spinning these things and kids hanging on for dear life with their legs like Superman, you know, because of the force, hanging on for dear life, and then they're like falling off and spinning around the ground and stuff. But I have not seen one of these things in quite some time. That is unbelievable. Right here in Swansea, South Carolina, that is something else. And I walked over here next to the railroad track and I noticed this old decrepit building here, but that is not the reason I walked over here. I actually walked over here because I seen this like tubular metal design. And that is very fascinating looking, because I don't know if it's because I grew up a Star Wars fan or not, but that looks a lot like a AT-AT or a AT-AT. Does it not? Look at that. It looks like right out of Empire Strikes Back. It just don't have the head. That's the only thing it's missing. Maybe that was some kind of artwork. It just got left behind. Maybe it was never completed or whatnot, but that looks a lot like a AT-AT. Very interesting. Right here next to the railroad track that runs through Swansea. That's a really nice house right there. I don't know if anybody's living there anymore. It's kind of, the bushes are kind of grown up around it and everything. It's kind of sad. But I want to talk a little bit about Swansea. So Swansea, South Carolina was incorporated under its charter on December 19th, 1892. So Swansea, South Carolina is a pretty small town. About 773 people supposedly that lives here. And the median age of the town is about 39. And this right here is what the downtown actually looks like. Now that is a very interesting looking building. Kind of looks like an old Western style building, doesn't it? With that overhang. And it's like got this little porch or walkway that's a part of the sidewalk. It's very fascinating how they made this. Have some like wire fencing on the windows for whatever reason. Not really sure, but yeah, really old spot too. Wood looks really old, or it's aged. Almost looks like that was like railroad track pylons or something. And I mean, there is not a soul on this main street right here where I'm at. Ain't nothing. So quiet. Now, it is early in the morning, but not a lot going on here in this town. Let's talk about some of the crime numbers and median household income. So the income per capita here in Swansea is 31% below the national average. And the household income is 33% below the national average. So that's something else. Just to give you an exact number, the median household income here in Swansea is $36,908. And then South Carolina, they average at $46,898, and then the national average is $55,322. So that kind of paints a picture of how much people here in the area are able to make while working. So for whatever reason, there used to be a business right here, but it's been mostly ripped out. This is definitely an ongoing theme in these little small communities as we visit, but this one, they actually don't want you trespassing. They want you to stay out of here, so it is posted. Even though they got trees growing in it and stuff like that, but yeah. So now we're going to talk a little bit about crime. And I think the crime is where this town really shocked me when I was doing my research. So the total crime is 383% above the national average here. That is amazing. And then the violent crime is 224% above the national average. And then here it really gets good. The property crime is 413% above the national average. And that is frightening. So to break that down a little bit more, there's only like 700 people that lives here in Swansea. 11% of those people will commit a crime. And then 1.1% of those people will be a violent crime. And then property crime is about 9.8% of that, and theft is about 8.9% of that. So that is amazing. And then to make matters worse, the town they don't really have enough money to have a police department no more. And I seen a video online not too long ago. I think it was like a news group out of Columbia that was like talking about Swansea and the predicament they're in. They actually was going to get rid of their police department altogether because they couldn't afford it. And they only had 2 people. You know, you had like your police chief and 1 person beneath him. And they were both going to retire at the same time because the town could not afford the law people. And so it was going to revert over to the county, the sheriff's office, to actually govern the town and kind of patrol and stuff. But I think I kept digging after that to see it. That was like over a month ago. So I kept digging, and it seemed like that the police chief or whatever, he stayed on. So it's just one man pretty much policing the town, because the other guy, I think they couldn't afford him for real, and they ended up having to cut him out altogether. So I think that's a fact. I read that online, so take that with a grain of salt. If you are from this area, definitely put a comment down below in the comments, kind of get me up to speed on that. Is that really how it all shaked out, or did you hear about that? But that was definitely something that I found online. It was from a news station out of Columbia, I do believe. So I thought that was really interesting. You know, you don't hear about stuff like that happen all that often. So yeah, all right. I think that's going to pretty much do it for us here in Swansea. So let's go ahead and say goodbye to this area. This is wild. This is like ghost town supreme right here. I mean, there's just no movement, nothing going on at all. And the only thing that is open is this smoke shop, this vape shop right here on the very end. That is it. You know, vape shops and smoke shops are like cockroaches. It's hard to kill them. They're always one around. Don't matter what kind of you know, community you have and how much is hurting or ailing. Everything else will be shut down. But Dollar Generals and vape shops, they'll survive. Okay, I was headed out of Swansea, and I come across this old Hilltop Cafe. And this right here is a relic and a half. Look at this old place. I would imagine this place used to turn out some really good hamburgers at one time. That signage, that is really, really cool. And I love the design right here on the door of the coffee cup with a heart. How cool is that? And right here next to the grill, there is another abandoned looking structure. I don't know if that was someone's house or what that was at one time, but it's right here kind of a part of the same property. But when I seen this old restaurant or diner, this cafe, I know I had to stop just because it's just something about it was just so cool looking. Really like old rustic places like this. And I just cannot get enough of this old sign right here. Yeah, that is really, really cool. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, welcome to the small town of North, South Carolina. And that is a lot of greenery growing up in the front of this store. It's all shackled up, barred up out front, condemned, closed, all that good stuff. The town of North was founded in early 1890s when the southbound railroad, later part of the Seaboard Airline Railway, was being built through Orangeburg County here in South Carolina. A local businessman by the name of John F. North donated land for the depot and encouraged settlement around it. When it came to be time to name the station, locals simply called it North Station, which was soon shortened to just North. So that is how this town got its name. And man, that building is completely boarded up except that one window right there. But look at all the boarded up front fascia, the doors. And right here is what's left Maybe that reads Jameson's Auto Garage Sales. That's what this used to be right here. Looks like they even have a little island left behind, maybe where they had some gas pumps or something like that. Maybe this was the office area of the garage sales. It used to be here. Oh, rusted out filing cabinet. They still have the railroad track here that goes right through town here in North. And the railroad played a huge role in the town's early growth. It connected farmers to larger markets for shipping cotton, timber, and other agricultural goods. Like many small Carolina towns, the depot became the heart of the community with stores, homes, churches sprung up all around. The little town of North was officially incorporated in 1903. So one of the few stores that is actually open here on this little strip of stores right here on this main thoroughfare is the public library. The rest of these places seem to be mostly abandoned. Not a lot going on here at all. Right here used to be Paul's Barber Shop. Let's talk about the median household income here. It's $40,750. And the income per capita is $23,553. And the poverty level is quite high, 32.4%. That's up there. And right here is Jeff Coates Tax and Payroll Services. So this is another place that is open. And maybe right here we have another store. Looks like they got some fans for sale. And this is called Goody's Thrift Store. Love a good thrift store. Thrift stores are always a lot of fun. You just never know what you're going to find in a good thrift store. Kind of peek in there, see what they have. That looks thrifty. I think it's safe to say that these people here at this store, maybe it was a Napa Auto Parts store at one time. I see that yellow up there and the blue on the building. Maybe it wasn't, but it looks pretty rough. A lot of damage inside this store. Ceiling, it's all blacked out in there. A lot of debris. So let's talk about crime a little bit. So crime here is not as bad as the last town we went to, Swansea. It was pretty high there. Here, 3.4% is the crime in North. And just to give you an idea, it's still higher than that national average, which is 2.2%. South Carolina is at 2.6%, so it's still higher there. And then violent crimes are about 0.6% out of that 3.4. So a much smaller number, but still above the national average of 0.3%. And then when you look at property crime, you're looking at 2.8%, which is the biggest amount of crime you're going to get here in the area, is property crime. All right, I made my way across the train track now, here in the town of North. And this is a beautiful little area. Man, I love this. I like all the plants and the flowers out here, very nice. A little Mexican restaurant right there. That right there is an epic building. Look at that thing. Wow. That is awesome. That is so cool. I mean, what did that used to be? You know? Trust me, I looked up online, I try to find when I go to some of these small towns, and sometimes you can find some stuff and sometimes you can't. And unfortunately today, this is one of those days where I couldn't find a whole lot of backstory information on some of these places. But real quick, I just wanted to give you the population of the town right here. It's 793 people as of, I think that's the 2023 census report. So that's the best data I could find. And this is a town that has a lot of age. I almost said a bad word. I almost said old. I can't say old no more because I'm gaining on this number I'm about to give you. I'm not there yet, but I'm in arm's reach. The median age here in the town of North is 53.6 years of age. That's an old town. A lot of towns you go to, you will see in the 30s, 35, 39, maybe 40. When you get up in the town, it's like 50s. That's a lot of old blood in this town. That's for sure. Okay, let's carry on and go see us another town before we wrap our vlog up today. By the way, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it, man. This is so much fun sharing these places with you guys. As I'm traveling along, look at all that cotton out there. That is Southern tradition. Welcome to Springfield, South Carolina. This was a pretty epic looking building at one time, I bet. Check that out. Wonder what that used to be. Just to give you a little history about Springfield. Springfield was laid out and chartered in December of 1887. It's a very quiet little town. Go over here and check out this little water fixture they have right across the road here. Oh yeah, this is nice. Nice little water fixture right here. Still have some skulls left behind. They must have a little bit of decoration last week during the Halloween month of October. This is really pretty. I really like this. So just to give you a little backstory about Springfield, the town developed as a mercantile center for cotton farmers, with rail access playing a key role. The downtown historic district still shows storefronts. As you can see, that is a pretty epic looking store right there. I imagine that's a bank. But these storefronts date back to the early 1900s. And the railroad platform is now a greenway, which that is where we're located. Right here used to be where the railway would power through the middle of town here. And now it's just a nice little quaint greenway. Nice touch, I really like that. All right, I made my way over here to these old buildings right here. The roof of that one's actually been removed. And over here, the same. Kind of interesting with this one because it actually says Bergdorf Cotton Company up there. And I noticed the drive-in from North South Carolina. That just sounds so weird to say. There was cotton fields everywhere. It was a lot. It was unreal. But all these stores right here look to be abandoned. Right here close to maybe where the old train depot used to sit. Let's give you a little bit of a population breakdown. 499 people is the census number of population that lives here. And unlike the town of North, where it was fairly older median age, here the median age is 37.7, which is pretty good. That's a pretty good age, I think, for a town. Springfield Railroad. Got like a little stage right here in this area, about where the depot, I would guess, used to sit, possibly. As you can see, the train caboose right over there. Then they have a little remembrance over here. All gave some gave all for their military, people that fought. And then we got some more buildings right here. And then they got some flags out here that represent each branch of the United States military. Everybody's represented up there. That's pretty awesome. It's so quiet here, though. Very, very nice. So let's talk about crime for a minute. So the national average of crime, total crime, is 2.2%. Here in Springfield, they're at 3.7. So a little higher than the average, that's for sure. You know, probably about, what, 60% higher. And then violent crimes as a nation are 0.3, and here they're 0.6. And then when we get into the property crime as a nation, we're 1.9%, and here the estimate is 3.0. So that's kind of how the crime reflects as far as the town goes. The next thing we're going to talk about a little bit is the income of people around here. So the income per capita here in the town of Springfield is $16,751. The national average is $29,829. The median household income here is $32,000 $639, and that compares the national average with $55,322. And speaking of money, right here is the Enterprise Bank of South Carolina. It's been here since 1920. I figured it was going to have some age to it. Just at that design, those big old white pylons, that's really, really cool. Really awesome looking bank. And right next to it is the United States Post Office here in town, Springfield, South Carolina. Zip code 29146. So now that we know a little bit about the median household income and so on and so forth, the poverty level is where the real story is here in town. 40.7% of the people living here live in poverty. That is a pretty high number. Check out this antique store right here. Carson's Collectibles and Antiques LLC. Love a good antique store. You can find a lot of antique stores in these little small southern towns. I'm figuring that out real quick. Oh my gosh. That is an awesome sign. That is like retro overload. That is amazing. Look at that beautiful. Adesto Drug. That is so cool. Borden's Ice Cream. Yeah, I just can't get over this sign. That sign is beautiful. It's got the old neon bulbs on it and everything, except on this side. It's a little bit more rough for wear on this side because the D is missing in Borden's, and the drug, the other D is missing in drug up there, but nonetheless, that is pretty cool. Adesto Springfield Gallery, pottery and paintings right here. This is cool stuff here. Look at this here in the window. I think my dad built me a little go-kart to look very similar to this one time. It was built a lot like this. Now this is not a go-kart, but it don't have no motor on it or anything like that, but it's more like a soapbox, isn't it? Looks like it's got a Bible for a steering wheel. Just kidding, I don't think that's really a Bible. It's just a book, but you know. Beware of frog. That frog has got it made. Kicking back in a lounge chair. Looks like he's got a martini with an olive in it right there. And then check out this little art piece right here. Somebody actually made a frog out of some old tires, some rebarb down there for the front legs or his legs. That's kind of cute right there. Kind of like that. And I think all that being said, I think that is going to pretty much finish us up here in the town of Springfield today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, I enjoyed making it. Thank you so much. Got to learn a little bit about some of these communities. But that being said, I'm really happy that you guys decided to hang out with me today once again. Until next time, friends, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I'll see you on my next adventure. Y'all stay safe. I hope to see you all again soon. I think this was a good one today. And it turned into an absolutely beautiful morning. I mean, wow. Start off a little nippy, a little cold, but it has turned into a fantastic day as the good old sunshine got up there good and high and warmed my bones up finally. I think I'm just going to end the video right here with this epic Adesto Drug sign. That is really cool. Might be blacked out, not sure, but yeah, I like that sign.